This conference will now be recorded.
Hi friends, good morning. In this Business Intelligence Master Program, okay. Okay. Hi friends, in this Business Intelligence Master Program. So in today's session, we are going to talk about data quality checks and logging using data flows. If you remember, we already completed how to separate the duplicate records, how to separate the unique records, isn't it? We completed that. Next, we also completed how to verify the null values. If we have a null record, how we can able to filter out by using a is null, that particular function we can use to identify and to filter out the records where we have a null values. Okay, we have already done it. So we have pending with the time, date and time. So whenever we have a date time column is not following proper order, such type of records we need to consider as a bad record, and those records we need to write it into some reject folder or something like that. Okay, so that is the data quality check that is pending. So that's why I thought of completing that as well. So I have taken this session. So in this session, we will see how to filter out good records and bad records based on the date and time format, or you can say date format. Okay, but if you remember, previously we already done it for duplicate records, for null records. Today we are going to focus on the date time. Okay, next. So whenever you have executed the data flow activity, maybe I want to get some of the logs. What is the execution start time of the data flow? What is the execution end time of the data flow? What is the total duration it has taken? Then I want to understand the status of the data flow directly, and I want to store all these things in a table or file. So if it is a table, already you know how to store. If it is a file, how to store, we are going to see today. These two things we can complete it at once, and we are also going to cover today how to execute the multiple data flows from a single pipeline. Okay, so fine. So in today's session, we will learn about scenarios, mapping data flow actions, estimations, prerequisite, and required resources. Demo, you know, I'm going to create data lake storage Gen2, data factory V2, linked service for data lake storage Gen2, dataset pipeline, debug pipeline, run pipeline, schedule trigger, monitor pipeline. So scenarios, this is important. You see, first we will see how to perform date time format check. Maybe you just check for date. You can check for date and time. So that is up to you. I just tell you how you can perform these checks, whether you have a date and date time. So both are same, just you need to use the different functions. Next, we are going to see how to perform logging using data flows, how to collect the logs and how we can store it in a file or table. Next, we are going to see how to separate good and bad records. You already know conditional split we have used to separate the good and bad records. But what we need to do today, we need to identify the bad records based on the format of the date column. Next, mapping data flow parameters. We already have done that. So how to use data flow parameters. So today we are going to use multiple parameters to get the logs from the pipeline. Okay, next, I'm going to generate the files dynamically in data flow. So what happens is, if you remember, so logs, every run I want to store a logs. Whenever you run a data flow, I want to create a new file. Whenever you run a pipeline, I want to create a new file. Into that particular file, I want to write these logs. How to do that, we are going to see. Next, we are going to see how to execute multiple data flows from a single pipeline. We will see. Then with respect to the transformation, we will use source transformation, conditional split transformation, derive column transformation, and sync transformation. These are the transformation that I'm going to use in today's session. Let's say data quality transformation. Okay, data quality transformation. You see, this is my data. In this is my EMI start date. Can you just look at the EMI start date and tell me which dates are not in a proper format? So tell me which records are not in a proper format. The second record, and you just look at here. This is the record. You see months. Do you have any month 100? No. Okay, that's why this is wrong. Next, what is this? So something is missing here, maybe iPhone or something. Let's say when customers are entering some details manually, okay, So if some functionality they have, like developers, what happens is these issues will come because of few reasons. One is maybe if the client side they are typing the data and sending, so typo mistake. Second thing is you have an application itself you are filling, so there should not be any problem when you are filling these forms through the application. But what happens, there may be some bug fixing. When they are bug fixing by mistake, they have changed that particular logic, so that logic may send something like this. So to avoid further processing to fail, we need to filter out these kind of bad records. We need to remove these bad records. Now out of these, what are the good records? So I'll just get all the good records at one side, all bad records at one side. See, these are the bad records 1 and 3. You see, this is the one we saw. One second, why name Krishna came here? Yeah, correct. One Visa Cloud Pandit 978-2020-0101. You see third record. 3 Visa Krishna 1140. You have a 2019-101. Okay, these are bad records. These are good records. This is what I wanted to do. Now you see DQ transformation overview diagram. So this is the diagram that I'm going to do. What I wanted to do. So these are my source data. I will read my source file, and I will add the load date column. Why you need to add the load date column? Because whenever you have done some DQ checks and if it is failed, you need to make sure these records got failed in which day load, on what day load. So maybe you are processing data today. When you are processing data today, you found these are the bad records. So you need to have that particular load date column. It will help you to identify when this record is rejected. Okay, in what day processing these records got rejected, you will come to know. That's why I'm going to add a derive column which is going to generate the load date. Load date is basically current date. Then I'm going to use a condition. That condition, what it will do, it will just filter out all good records in this way, all bad records in this way. The condition is very simple. I have a date. This date I want in this particular format. So when you say I want in this particular format, wherever you see that particular format, so those format records will go in this flow. All the records which are not following that particular format, those will go in this particular flow. Okay, that's all, friends. Okay, that's all is going to happen. Now with respect to the logging in data flow, you see I'm going to collect ADF name, pipeline name, run ID, status, execution start time, execution end time, duration, all these things. If I want to get it, so you can able to get it from the you can able to get these things and you can write it into the file instead of writing into a table. We have used a stored procedure to log all these log messages into the table, but today I want to log all these into a file. How to do that, we are going to see. Okay, next, data flow logging overview diagram. You see here, so you will have a source, okay, which is going to read the format, in which format you want to write these logs. Okay, derive column, it is going to just set the data for all the columns. I'm not going to add the new columns, but for the existing columns I want to add the content by using derive column. Finally, I will write the data into my target table wherever I want to store the logs. Okay, so execute data flow from pipelines. As I mentioned, I'm going to execute two data flows. See, I have created the two activities. I have to debug these things. You can use a data flow cluster, that is nothing but a Spark cluster, or you can directly use the integration runtime to execute this. When you have a multiple DF, it will allow you to execute these multiple DFs, data flows, from the integration runtime itself. So that is possible. So if you use IR, integration runtime, it will finish the job quickly. But if you use data flow cluster, it will take more time. Okay, just to see if you want to experience. Okay, so you create a pipeline. Then from activities, you have data flow activity. Just take the data flow activity. You just take multiple data flow activity. You can just attach which data flow to execute in each activity. Okay, so this is the data flow debug must be turned on. Next, mapping data flow actions. So all these things we discussed today. Again, we are going to talk about conditional state. Then we are going to talk about derive column. Okay, rest of the things We already discussed in detail each and everything. Next, estimations, how many linked services I need? Only one linked service, because I'm going to use only ADF. Sorry, I'm just going to create the storage, but if you're creating the data, if you're using the database, you need to create the one more linked service for database. I'll create the multiple data sets for logging, for input, for output, all those things. How many data flows I need? One data flow. How many pipelines I need? One pipeline. So for logging one data flow, I will use. For DQ checks, I'm going to use a one data flow. Okay. So how many pipelines I will use to execute these two data flows is one pipeline. What type of IR we need to use? We can use this Azure IR to dispatch job on a Databricks cluster so that it will execute. The second one is you can directly run your job on a Azure IR. Both are possible. Next, prerequisite. What is Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2? You should know Key Vault, Azure Data Factory, Data Flow, Debug, Schedule, Trigger, what is linker source, data set, activity pipeline. So we already know all those things. Required resources are Data Lake Storage Gen 2, Key Vault, Data Factory V2. I'll just go and create these three resources quickly. Okay. Let's jump into our portal. Let's not waste any time. Click on storage account quickly. Let me create. Click add to create the storage accounts. Let me just create, see, I don't have any resource group. Let me just create a resource group. Create new, I can say cloud Monday. Program. So click OK. You can say storage account name, cloud Monday, ADLS store V2. Networking, all those things, you know, in advanced tab, you need to enable the hierarchical namespace. Click preview plus create. Here running final validation. Once the validation is finished, we can able to create it. Now come to second tab. Now click on data factories. Click add data factory. Resource group is this, the resource group, you know, EDF files cloud Monday, EDF V20108. Git configuration, I'll just configure it later. Click review plus create. Running final validation. Validation passed, you can create it. Okay. Now come here, you can say portal.azure.com. I want to create the Azure keyword. Murli, go mute please. Okay, click on keywords. Click on keywords. Click add keyword. The subscription resource group is this, and keyword name I can say cloud Monday AKV 0108. Access policies. Just click add access policy. So I'll just use basically we are using only secret, so you just say secret management. Click unselected. So instead of selecting a complete permission, we can just give the secret name. So here you can just add your data factory name cloud Monday area. This is the one. Select it. Click add. Click review plus create. You can create it. Okay, everything is finished. Now come to the storage, go to resource, click on container. I'm going to create a multiple containers. You just look at here. So this is my source data. Okay. Source data container. So all the good records I want to write it into a container called working. Okay, all bad records I want to write it into a folder called reject. reject. Okay, all the logging I want to write it into the logging folder. Okay, I just created the 4 containers. You just look at the each container why I am using. Logging container I am using to maintain my logs. Okay, next, what else? Let's look at reject source data working, everything is fine. If you look at the working means all the good records, reject means all the bad records, source data means your source data, whatever data you want to process. So let me just open my source data and show you. See, data quality underscore CSV. Yeah, let's open as a data quality.csv itself. See, data in which format? It is there in this particular format. So I want to make sure the format is correct. So I'll just arrange the format. So that is the problem if you open in Excel. Okay, see, I got it. Okay, these are the like good records. You see, these are bad records which are not following the order. Okay, this is my file. These are my source. Okay, I'm just saving. So when you are doing this lab, you need to be very, very careful. I will tell you the reason for that. So now you just click on this, click edit with Notepad++. So the date format you see here, it is showing as a YYYMMDD. Okay, see some spaces we have, all these things you need to take care. Okay. So YYYMMDD, YYYM. See, this is the format which is wrong. So you can take. But if you open this file now in Excel, instead of hyphen, it will just take in a different format. It will take month slash day slash year, something like that. The format will change. So you need to be very careful how you have mentioned in which format you have date. Okay. So this is the file, final file that I'm going to upload. Come here, go to source data, click upload, click on this, go to desktop, go to Cloud Connect dataset, data flow performance, data quality.csv, open this, click upload. Just click on the CSV file. Let's look at the format of the date once again. Click preview data. See, data is coming in a proper format which we have expected. Fine. Now, if you remember, whenever we have taken logging, you remember we have created the table and we have defined the number of columns and all those things. In the same way here, I need to mention what columns I want to maintain. Okay, just open this. See, column names are ADF name, pipeline name, run ID, status, execution start time, execution end time, duration. So these are the columns I want to populate in my logging. So that particular file I want to upload in this logging folder. Click upload log.source.csv. Okay. Okay, clear now. What I have done, everybody's clear as of now. This is important. Whatever we have done as of now, it is very, very important. Okay. You will not be able to understand anything, friends, if you're not able to understand whatever I have done now. Showcase, copy this, come here, go to resource, click on secrets, click generate / import. You can say ADLS key, paste the key here, created. You created, now come to data factory, go to resource, click on author and monitor. Okay, now let's click on manage tab, turn on this, click OK. A linked service, just click new linked service. So linked service for what? So I want to create a linked service for my data lake storage Gen 2. Okay, data lake storage Gen 2. Click continue. This is basically ls ADLS Gen 2. Azure Key Vault, enter manually. So let's form the URL, storage name. So so you might have already know why I'm using data lake storage Gen 2 very widely. The reason is like most of the project now going to start on a data lake storage Gen 2 only. Gen 1 and block futures both available in Gen 2, so people will use Gen 2. Okay, that's why I'm just focusing more on a Gen 2. But you can just use any storage for this particular purpose. Okay, bfs.core.windows.net/ this is underscore Azure Key Vault, subscription is this, and the Key Vault name is this one, test connection. Connection successful, you can create it. So now secret name, ADLS test connection. Connection successful, you can create it. Okay, now just publish all. Click publish. Come to author tab. Let's click on data flow. View mapping data flow. Select data flow. Click OK. Click finish. So this is my first data flow. See, I am just creating the data flow directly. Okay, I don't want to create the data sets. Okay, so I don't want to create data sets means I don't want to create data sets here. Okay, so I want to create data sets directly in the data flow. Okay, on the fly I want to create and show you few things. Just click and add source. Just added the source. So this is basically I'm using for the DQ. So let's rename this particular data flow as a data flow for DQ checks. Data quality. DQ means data quality. Okay, data flow for data quality. Now I want to read my source data. How to read source data? Click new. Select data lake storage Gen 2. Click continue. So which type of file you have? You have a CSV file. Okay, just to select CSV. Click continue. So this is basically TS for ADLS Gen 2. What type of file it is? Basically loan. This is also credit, right? So credit CSV file. Credit CSV. And you can use this particular linked service and browse to that particular folder. So which folder we have data, source data folder. Select this particular file, click on this. But if you have multiple files, how to use the wildcard option, I have explained you. So import schema, as the file is already available, if you want to import schema, you can import, just click OK. But I also explained you how to pass the parameters, right? Okay, so now we just created the source. Now come to projection. So when you came to projection, you see by default the data types it is considering as a string. By default it is considering as a string. But once the data flow debug is turned on, we can able to import projection, or you can just say detect data types. It is going to detect the correct data types. If you want to change any default format, let's say integer values, whole numbers, it will by default consider as a short. I don't want that particular thing to be considered as a short. I want to consider as integer. Just say integer. Click OK. Okay, that is one thing. Next, come to optimize, these partitions. Inspect will tell you the number of columns that you are receiving from source. So I'm receiving 5 columns from the source. Those are credit ID, credit type, name, score, EMI, start date. Come to data preview. So here we are going to preview the data, but it is not available still. Let's wait some time. So as I mentioned earlier, if you want to if you want to read multiple files, you need to use the wildcard option here. Without selecting the file, you need to use here wildcard option. Star.csv, all CSV files, pick it. Star.parquet, so all parquet, something like that. Okay. Now come to data preview. As the data flow debug is turned on, you can just click refresh. Here in this particular case, data type doesn't matter to us. Okay, basically for this particular example, data type is not important for us. And I don't recommend you to import the data types because it will have some performance issue. So you just go like that, and wherever you need to convert the type, you just convert on the fly at that particular one or two places wherever you want. But in many cases you want to convert that, then better you can just convert the data type here itself. See, I'm just getting all this data. Out of this data, see, this is the problem. This data and this data is not correct. What I want to do, this particular data I'm processing on what date. So I want to add a load date column. For that, click on this and just say derive column. Okay, I'll just add a column called load date. Okay, load date. Now I want to generate a current date for this particular column. Click open expression builder. So here I will say current underscore date, in which format you want this date, UTC. Okay, click save and finish. Okay, current date in UTC I want. Now what is the input for this derive column? Whatever source data you read, for that it is going to add a extra column called load date, and for that load date column it is going to populate the data as a current date. Just come to data preview, refresh it. Okay, you see here, credit score, EMI start date, load date. I got the load date now. Okay, because I want to load with the data. So I will come to know when these records processed, when these records like failed, all those things, isn't it? So today date I got. Then you see, this is the format of the start date, YYYMMDD. Okay, now I want to split this particular records based on this particular start date. If the start date is having a proper format, those records I want to put it in a one flow. All bad records I want to put it in another flow. Okay, just conditional split, use conditional split. So for conditional split, the input is output of this derived column. Here I can say good records. Okay, you can say good records. You can say it's a bad records. How to get these good records? Just click on this condition. You need to verify some condition. Okay, so you see to date, I'm going to convert to date. To date, I'm going to convert. What you want to convert into to date? Okay, so you just keep cursor here to see how it will work. So it is going to take a not here, there it is not showing properly for you. You just click on here. It will give you more examples. See examples you can able to see here. Right side, please see the examples down. To date, you have something called date you have passed, and you have given a MMDDYYYY. Okay, you understand? So what you are doing is, so you are expecting your data in a MMDDYYY format. So whatever, see, first is the data which you have, you need to pass in this data, in which format you are expecting, the date format you need to mention. So first my data I need to pass it from the EMI start date. This particular data I'm expecting in this particular format. In which format you are expecting? You are expecting in this format, YYY capital M small dd. How you will know it's a capital M is, keep cursor here, you will see here small y capital M again small d. Okay, that's why I came to know small y capital M small dd. So if the date is in this particular format, those records will come here. All other records will not come in this way. Okay, just click save and finish. Now why this is showing like this? Data flow expression should return. One second. So what you need to do, if this particular thing is true, if this is true, okay, I will just use a case, okay, if this particular thing is returned, if it is, so what happens is, if the start date is following same format, it will return the date. If the start date is not following the same date, then it will give the null. So you need to check is null. Okay, if it is a null, you need to return false. Okay, I will explain once again. Try to understand this, friends. So to date you understood, this particular date you are expecting in YYMMDD format. If the date is in this format, it will return the date. If this is not in this format, it will return null. So I'm just checking is null. Whatever EMI date is returned, this entire to date function return null. When it will return null? When it is not in a proper order. So when this condition is written null, okay, when this is true, if it is null, I want to send it as a false. False means such type of records I won't consider. Okay, all other records I will consider, and whatever condition, whatever records are not following that particular format, those records I will send it to the bad records flow. Okay, let's preview the data. I will explain once again. I'm not sure how many of you understood. You're not getting anything. Let's go to the bad records and see. To date, it will return null. If it is a return null, true. One second. Okay. So if it is a false, see, if it is a null, I need to say false. I don't want. But if it is having something, then I need to pass true. I forgot to add true. That's why I'm just getting all those things. Now you just put good records again. Now you will see you'll get a all good records. I forgot to add those things. Good records also I'm just filtering out. See, you will get a only good records here. You see, yeah. How many records you got? Total 6. You just look at the EMI start date here. Everything is a good, right? Everything is a good date. But let's go to the bad records. You will see 2 records here which are bad. Okay, see, I got the bad records here. Okay. Now, can you please tell me where you got confused? You see, I will just tell you once again, then you can tell me. So first, try to answer me what this to date will return if the date is not in this particular format. What this will return if the start date is not in this particular format. Remember, it will return null. Okay, it will return null. So if it is a null, I'm just using false condition. Why I'm using false? Because if it is a null means it is not following proper format. So such type of records I don't want. False I'm using. I don't want. If it is following proper format, it won't give null. Instead of that, it is going to give you the date. So then it will be a is null. No, it is a false. When this is a false, it will execute true. True means I want to get the only good records. Okay, so I hope everybody know case how it will work. If this condition is a true, then it will execute this. If this condition is false, then it will execute this. When this condition will become true, is if the date is not following proper format, then this will be true. If this is true, it will execute a false. It will execute this false. So meaning When it is null, I don't want such type of records. When it is not null, I am just going to get those records. When it is not null, I will get those records, because not null means those are in a proper format. That's why those are not null values. Okay, clear? Any confusion at this point, please tell me, friend. Okay, just click save and finish. Okay, thank you. Now come to, yeah, we already previewed the data. I want to write this data into my target. Just add this thing here. Click new, data lake storage into CSV. So it's basically DS for ADLS Gen 2 working. It's a working layer. I'm just connecting to the working good records, right? I need to connect to the working folder, and I need to add all these records. Okay, first as add, click OK. So let's say I want to write it into single folder so that it will be easy for me to review it. So output single file, set single partition, you know that. So here I can say credit data.csv. Okay, credit data.csv. That's all you need to do here. Let's come here. One more thing you need to do, come to mapping, auto unmapping disable. You check it whether everything is mapped properly or not. Yes, everything is mapped properly. Next, come here, click on sync. So all bad records I want to write it. So for that you need to create a new data set. Data lake storage into CSV, click continue. PDLS Gen 2 for reject. So use same linked service. First as header, browse it, select reject folder. In reject also I just wanted to put it in a single file. You come here, let's output to single file. I can say set as a single partition we need to do. Here, you know, I can say bad records .csv. Bad records, or you can say reject records. Reject records.csv. Okay, come to mapping. Let's check the mapping. Mapping is fine or not. Its mapping is fine here also. You can just leave it. Okay, this is my first data flow that I need to design. Okay, I just design. This is basically for the data quality checks. Now, once I execute this particular data flow, I need to collect some logs. For those logs, I am going to create a new mapping data flow. Okay, just say new mapping data flow. Okay, so this is basically data flow for logging. Add source. Let's click new. Data lake storage into CSV. So this is basically for DS underscore ADLS Gen 2 log source. Okay, so you can use this. Browse first as header, browse it. Let's not reject. Let's select a login. Let's select the CSV file. Click OK. Click OK. Okay. So here you have this particular data. Okay, but actually there is no data here. You just say let's come here, projection. You see everything is string, let it be, doesn't matter. Click refresh. There is no data in that file because we have not written any logs to that, isn't it?
Yes, man.
So we have not written any data, so we won't get any records here. Just wait, see, no output. Now what I wanted to do, I want to receive some parameters. Okay, I want to receive the data from the pipeline. How to receive the data from pipeline to the data flow is through the parameters. You remember last time we have done it, right? So it's a ADF name. You can say it's a ADF name. This is basically a pipeline name. this run ID. We can say, okay, you can say this is a df underscore, because data flow parameter you need to understand, right? So data flow parameter dfp you can add here, okay, so that we can able to differentiate which parameters it is dfp underscore status. So you can say dfp underscore execution start time, dfp execution end time. Okay, next click new. So now I also want to know the total duration it took. Okay, duration. Understood? These are the parameters I have. Understood? So these parameter will receive the data. Okay, data from the pipeline. Pipeline has given the values to these parameters. These parameters I will use to set the data for these columns which I have read it from the source. Okay, just say derive column. See, first you just select which column to set ADF name. Okay. Say how you want to set the ADF name from the parameter. So from the, see, go to parameters, we have dfp underscore ADF name. Just from this particular parameter, I will send the ADF name. Okay. So please try to understand this is the data flow parameter. This is the column which we have received from the source. Okay. Now just click add one more column. Okay, this is I'll just set it the next column pipeline name. This is the next source column. For this, I want to add the next parameter. That is, go to parameters. We have a pipeline name. Save and finish. So likewise, just add all the columns. Then we will go. Let's add your run ID. Next, we can add status. Next, we can add execution start time. Next you can add execution end time. Next you can add the duration. Okay, so now let's set the, see, these are the source columns. For these source columns I want to set the data. So how to get the data from the parameters? Go to Python run ID, next status. So I cannot execute and show you because it will not be a it will not show the correct data. I will tell you why it is not show you correct data, because you're just going to hard code it. That's why I will directly run it from the pipeline. Parameter, execution start time, next execution end time. I need, see, dfp why I have used to understand these are a data flow parameters. Dfp execution end time, and finally you need to take the duration. Okay, so now you have all these parameters. Okay, all these parameters you have. Now you have used, you set the data. Now you cannot preview the data because you need to set the data like values to these particular parameters. Okay, so finally, oh shit, one more thing I wanted to do, I forgot to do that. So one more thing is file name I want to generate every time dynamically. So for that, you click a new parameter. You can say here, what you can do is you can say log file name. Okay, it's a log file name. This log file name I want to use it. So come here. Yeah, I don't want to set, I don't want to pass the log file name. I don't want to send the log file name column here. Okay, that's why I'll just ignore that. Okay, you can just ignore that. What you can do is just come here, add the sync, just adding the sync. In the sync side, what I will do, I want to create the new data set because I want to write the my logs. CSV, click continue. This is a DS for ADLS Gen 2 log sync. Okay, log sync. So you can say this is the linker service. Browse it and just select this particular folder, but file name I will send it dynamically. So I will not append data to the log underscore source.csv to that file. I won't do that. I am going to create a new file every time. Okay, I will tell you how to create new file. So I'm not selecting any file here. Okay, now I want to write all my logs to a single file. Then you need to say output to single file. Then come here, click add dynamic content. Here I need to pass the file name. File name that I'm going to get it from the data flow parameters. So this is the log file name. Okay, log file name, set single partition, mapping data flow, uncheck it. So it is properly mapped. Okay, all those things is going properly. So data preview you cannot do as you are not setting the parameter values. Now I need to pass the values, parameter values. For that, create a pipeline. DF for DQ checks and logging. Okay, logging. Just to move and transform data flow activity, you just use existing data flow. Data quality I want to execute first. So in data quality, you don't have any parameter. So you come here, you don't have anything. You don't need to pass any parameter. Just use one more data flow. Okay, this is basically a logging data flow. Click OK. So once this is finished, I want to execute this data flow. Okay. Now, if you click on this, you see parameters, lot of parameters, data flow parameters, which are waiting for the value. Now ADF name, you know, just click on pipeline expression, click on this to get the data factory name, ADF name. Okay, so pipeline name, just click on this just to get the pipeline name. Okay, next run ID, just click on this pipeline expression, get the run ID. Dynamically you will get all these things. Status you are going to get it based on the previous data flow. So I want to get previous data flow status, so you need to say status. Okay, click finish. In the same way, I want to get the execution start time. Click on this. Execution start time is also of data flow activities. So you need to say, you remember we have already done all these things. Execution start time. Okay, click finish. Next, execution end time. So for that, you need to say execution end time. Okay, execution end time. Next, duration. So you just have to say on this, so how much duration it took. So duration, log file name. So file name, for every run, the file name should change it. So for that, click on this pipeline expression. Here I'll just say something. First I need to generate the date format. Date, you will not get it here. You search here, format date. Okay, format date I'm selected. So in this format date time, you see something like you have UTC now. UTC now. You remember we discussed all these things. Okay, I don't know if you forget. So I want to get UTC now in this particular format. YYY MMDD HH MMSS. Okay, in this particular format, I want to get the data. Okay, this date should be something like this. Now to that particular date, okay, this is, try to understand, this is a first, it is going to give me let's say for currently if I run, it will give in IST. Let's imagine in IST, even though it is in UTC, just imagine 2021, month is 08, date is, sorry, month is 01, date is 08, time is 08, minutes is 50, seconds is, let's say it may be 30, something like that. It is going to give everything, it will give something like this, isn't it? It is going to give me something like this: 2021 0108, and now the time is 8 o'clock 50 minutes and some 55 seconds, something like that. I will get the value. Okay. Now, if you want to separate the year, like this date and the time, you just put the underscore in between. Okay, but you will get something like that if you use this. So that particular date, I want to just join with. I want to join with log underscore. Okay, log underscore is the my file. This is the one string. This is the another string, and I want to give the extension now. Okay, I just wanted to give the extension now as a .csv. Now I want to combine these three things, and I want to get log underscore 2021 01 08. Okay, 0851 some 30 seconds .csv file. For that, what you need to do, you need to concat all these things. So you have a function called concat. You just use concat function to concat log underscore and then 2021 01 08 underscore 0851 30 seconds .csv. This is how I'm going to form the my log file. Every day log file will be created something like that. Okay, you can say instead of log, simple log, you can say cloud pandit log, cloud pandit underscore log underscore this particular date underscore this month, this particular time on time.csv. Okay, just to finish it. So this is how I'm going to pass the log file. All these things we are using within this. We are using all of those things within this. Okay, first let me just execute it, then you will come to know how these things are going. Okay, how these things are happening, how these things are executing. So I hope everything is fine. Let's try. If at all any error, see, you have a continue with the debug cluster. If you just go with the debug cluster, it will take more time as you have a multiple data flows. Let's go with using integration runtime. I want to use integration runtime. Okay, job will finish quickly if you use integration runtime. Okay, it is running, job is running. Let's wait now.
Malaya, I have one doubt. Yeah,
Finish.
currently we are using secret management, right? In real time, shall we use keyword management and certification management, these things?
No, that is depends on client. If they have any certification, so we can use the certificate.
Okay, based on the project.
Client, those securities will be different. See, first data flow is completed, data flow, data quality is completed. Let's go to storage. Okay, we should be able to see that good records and bad records. We'll look at that. See, let's go to reject. We'll see reject records.csv. Yes, click edit. You see here, you see the date here 2020 01 01, 2019 -100 -1. So these two records got rejected. Those came into the reject folder. All the good records will be there in a working folder. Let's click on this reddit data.csv. Click on edit. Now you see all the good records here. All the good records here along with the load date. Just click preview. So for you to preview data properly. Now you see all the MS start dates are in a proper format. Now let's go to our logging. It might have written the files. Yes, it has created. See in which format it has written the log. Cloud Pandit underscore log underscore 2021. So this date and time dots. Yes, you just click on that. So you'll be able to see all the log message. Where is the data? Why we did not get the data for this? Just come here. Just click on this. It has not written any rows. It did not write any rows. Why it did not written any rows? Wait friends, let me just check why this happened. Parameters we have used, and in this I just got the projection. All these I got, then I am here. Dollar DFP underscore ADF name, everything I'm using here. Come to sync, mapping. Mapping also we have done properly. Come to data preview. Let's refresh this. So okay, let's see. We already passed the data, but still I did not get the reason. Okay, let's go back, refresh this once again. Maybe at the time it is writing the data we might have opened. Let's see. It should write the data, but I see there also it did not say it has written the data, any data. Okay, so data did not come. That's fine, but let me just quickly rerun it and check it. If the issue really there, we will fix it. Just to debug it, because I don't see any issue with respect to the data flows. Okay, let's look at the data flow logging. So these are the data flow parameters. These data flow parameters I just used here to set the value for this column.
One more file is log source file. What is that file?
Log source file just to indicate the number of columns, like what data you want to, like what logging columns, what columns you want to mention for that. What is the issue? Okay, let's see. Let's publish all then. Click publish. So it is going to create a new file. It is going to create a new file. So same content log source.csv, which we have. This is the one which we have uploaded, but this is the file which is creating dynamically. So new file will create with the date and time with a different timestamp, but it is failed. I'm not able to understand. It said yes, we said everything. See, this parameter is coming. Why this parameter is not coming? Okay, okay. So don't worry, if it is not working, then I will tell you the next steps that we need to take care. Yeah, which one is created just now? This is the one. Okay. So, but this file is also having 79 bytes. Okay, fine. I understood the issue. Now do one thing. Just click on log on the source.csv. Click on this. You just do one thing. Remove all these things. Okay. So you can say it's a format, logging format, something, some data you just mention it here. Okay. Some data you just mention it here. Come here. Go to logging. Go to logging source. Okay, now in source, now do the input projection. Okay, even if you're not doing the input projection, that's fine, but I need to do the input projection. For that it is asked. Okay, let's say not detect data type. I will just tell you. So input projection only we need to do, otherwise you just try to do reset schema. Okay, wait. Input projection we need to do. Only thing is, see, as we have parameters, we need to set the parameters. It will take more time now. Yeah, that's okay. So I'll just quickly do something. Okay, I will tell you just for debug. Okay, I'm not doing anything. Just for debug, we need to set all these things. Not able to update the current. Okay, save it. Now this is yeah, let it project. Projection is in progress. Yeah, I got only logging format. Okay, only one column I got. Okay, come to derive column. So in this, you just look at all these columns. All these columns are going to be the new columns now. Okay, all these columns are going to be the new columns. Okay, now after derive column, do one thing, just use select. Just use the select. So in this logging format is the just some source you need to read. That's why I just mentioned that. You remove that. You use these columns. Okay, you use only the columns which are relevant. Now come to data preview. Just to refresh it. We should able to see the data now. Everywhere Cloud Pandit will come, because that's how I have passed the parameters for debugging. Okay, so debugging parameters, what we have set, if you want to see, just click on debug settings, go to parameters, you will see all these things. I see here also I'm not getting still anything. There is a critical issue. What is that issue? Come to data preview, refresh this. No data. Yes, you don't have any data in a source, but here I'm setting the parameters. I should be able to see the data. I am not getting the data. There is no output. Why there is no output? Come to optimize single partition, inspect. Okay, just set the parameter values cloud. So those data should come here, but I don't know. So for some reason it is not coming. Okay, let's see. Okay. Even if it is a null, it should show the data. But wait, friends. Okay, now do one thing. Just delete all these things once. Now let's keep adding. Let's add a new column, ADF name. Let me just take that ADF name parameter. Let's preview the data with this column. Okay, if it is working, then we can add other columns. Otherwise, we will look into it. Why this issue is coming? Parameter values we already set it. It should come. Login format, ADF name, no data. Yesterday also I verified it is working fine, but it seems derived column. Refresh this one, so we'll see. Okay, let's do one thing. Let me just delete this transformation itself. I don't know what is happening. Let me just add here. Default value, it will consider only if there is no data provided. But we said everything is a string only. Is it issue with underscore? Because underscore it will not allow. Okay, so debug settings are like okay, come here. That's a DFP underscore EDF only. Come here. Data preview. We are not getting data. Okay, we'll do. Is there issue with the parameter? We'll just check. Instead of that, I'll just say current underscore date. I'll just pass. Okay, because just now current underscore date is working. Just refresh it. Why it is not working? Let me just delete this entire data flow itself. Because the current date also it is not working. Oh, it is like this. Let's create a new data flow. Let's design this from scratch again. Let me just design source. What is my source? My source is, you know, right, log source. Okay, come to projection. So it is just considering many, just say input projection. Okay, meanwhile, let's create the parameters, data flow parameters quickly again. Execution start time, execution end time. Okay, so now do one more time projection. Yeah, so projection we need to do now, I think. I'll just say now we'll connect. So just wait for 10 minutes. Okay, we'll see if it is works. It should work surely, because there is no mistake here. We are only not getting data. Maybe we are doing small mistake somewhere. Let me quickly jump into here. Save and finished. Okay, save it. Now come to projection once again. Let's do that. You know that log file, we don't have any data, log source.csv, isn't it? We just have some log format, some column I just mentioned. But yeah, let's wait. And please view notification for more details. Internal error has occurred. Okay, internal error has occurred. So let's do one more time projection. Input projection. Let's do one more time. Yeah, this time it's done. Now come to data preview, refresh this. You know, we won't get any data. Meanwhile, let me just add the derive column. So in this derive column, I'll just add one column. Okay. So ADF name, I will just add. So for that ADF name, I'll just get it from the parameter. Go to parameters, DFP underscore ADF name. Okay. Now you know in this we won't get any data. Okay, no data. So here we should get some data. We see. One second, maybe the reason is now refresh once again. Some limitation we have in data flow because directly without source you cannot directly parse the column. That's why we need to take some column. I've taken one column and I have taken even one row. We'll see, at least we got some data. Hey, what is the problem? I'm not able to understand what is happening here. A data preview, refresh it. No output. I saved it, right? I saved it. Input projection once again. Yes, it's done. Refresh this now. Yes, I got the data. Now we'll see. We should be able to get the data now. Let's preview the data. Okay, this is the limitation. At least we need to have a one row to get the other rows. But anyhow, we are going to filter out this particular thing. Okay, we are not going to use, we won't write this particular data into our output. Just for log format, some column we need to mention it. That is the limitation we have. See here. Now I am getting the my ADF name. So I'll just quickly add all my columns now. Okay, so ADF name is completed, pipeline name, run ID, then we are going to talk about execution start time, execution end time, status, and one more column we need to add, duration. Okay, let's click on this pipeline name, click open this. So I need to select the pipeline name parameters, pipeline name, select it, come here, run ID, go to parameters. Yeah, it's finished. Just give me 5 minutes. Almost done, friends. Okay. Execution start time, come to parameters. Execution start time, right? Start time is this. Execution end time. End time is this. Parameters, end time is this. Status. Status. Click on this. Then duration, parameter. So you just select duration, click on this. So out of this, which column we don't want? We are getting some column. If you look at the inspect, you are getting something logging format. That column I don't want. So you just use select to filter out that particular column. Okay, just remove this column. Okay. Now let's select sync. Okay. Select log sync. To this log sync, you need to say output to sync file, set single partition, and the file name I need to get it from the parameter. Again, this I'm going to get it from the log file name. Where is that log file? I think I have not created that. Let's create that as well. Log file name, come here, click add content. Parameters, log file name, click finish. Okay, now come to data preview. Error, fix the error before I come here. Okay, let's preview the data. Here also we have some issue data flow as parameter for which value has not been provided. Okay, the value not provided for this log file. Okay, let me just check. Let me just say abc.csv, something like that. Okay, just to preview the data. Okay, just to preview the data, I'm just giving all these things. Okay, there is no issue. There is no issue here. Also refresh it at the sync. So at target side, whether you are getting these things or not, you check it. Meanwhile, I'll just rename the data flow, name data flow underscore login. We will get the data now. We will get only logs. Okay, see, we are getting only the logs, see log information. Okay, now come here. Here in this, I just wanted to select the data flow logging. This is the data flow which I want to execute. Here, data factory name, pipeline execution, data factory name, you select it. Let me just, as I just discussed, let me quickly finish all these things. Pipeline name, run ID, run ID. Select status of what? Previous data flow status. I want. Click finish, click on duration, click pipeline execution. Come on, guys. Please tell me, friends, if you have any spelling mistakes, because again it will fail. We need to fix it. On it will take more time. Okay. Tell me if I make any mistake. Execution end time, spelling mistake. Okay, you just check it. Execution end time, execution start time, end time, status, duration. Duration is nothing but again on same thing. Duration I need to say. Okay, log file name, I'll just say click on this, click pipeline expression. So this is basically, I can just say, so I just already explained this concat, right? I can say cloud content underscore log, comma, I just say here format datetime. So here I need to use UTC now, just say UTC now. In which format I want? I want in year, month, day, underscore hour, minute, seconds. Okay, at the end I need to say dot CSV file. Okay, this is what I want to generate. Now let's debug. Click use integration runtime. We have seen already the file is creating multiple times with a different name, isn't it? So Cloud Pandit underscore log. So we know at this particular run, whatever logs we collected, these are the logs, right? So we can able to know all these things, but we'll see now what will happen. We just expect it. Our job is started. Let's see. This data quality is finished. Now data flow logging is executing. Let's go to the logging. We'll see. Okay, this is also successful, but we received the log file. Yes, we received the log with the data. You see the size is increased. See, we got this is the ADF name, this is the pipeline name, this is the run ID. Okay, so start time, you have an end time. Oh, you just click preview, so it will be easy for you to do it. It's a CSV file, right? That's why I've written in a CSV. See execution end time, succeeded. I think I made a small mistake. So execution start time is fine. Duration place, I passed the instead of passing execution end time, I'm passing to the duration I'm passing to the execution end time. Let's correct it and we'll run it once again. So anyhow, we need to check it, right? So where is the mistake? See here, execution end time, instead of that I'm passing the duration. Okay, this is the mistake. Now click on this, let's cancel this. So here let me just pass the correct data, that is duration. See, that's what I asked you. Please look at the spelling mistakes and things. See, duration I'm passing correctly. Start date, so here I need to pass the end date, not a duration. Okay, because it's a end date. Execution end time, click finish. This is the execution end time, duration, everything is fine. Now again, just do what we need to do. Click on this, refresh, it is already succeeded. Just click debug once again, use integration runtime. So if you use integration runtime, your job will finish quickly. Okay, yeah, whoever want to see a result can stay back, other people can leave, friends. That's all for today. But you know, so only small mistake that instead of end time I just passed duration, instead of duration I passed end time. So now I just corrected and running again. If you want to see the result, you can stay back. Okay. Because at least we should have a one row of data in our source. As we don't have any data from our source, so it is not adding the parameters. Okay, so that's why I just added some sample data. Anyhow, that is just for the, that is the limitation of data flow. We cannot directly add the data from the data flow parameters or any parameters without having a source data. That's why in source I just added one column and row. You just see log underscore source.csv, but this we are not going to use anywhere in our transformation. Okay, but we need at least one column and one row. So that's why I just mentioned. Okay, clear, Bharat? Now you see, I think execution again finished. The data flow quality is finished. Now logging is also finished. Now just here you see, just refresh this to see. See, this is the one which I got 9:33. Just click on the CSV file. Now you'll have a correct date and time. Click a date, click preview. You see this is the ADF name, this is the pipeline name, this is the run ID, execution start time, end time correctly came, succeeded, and duration. So this is coming like this because when you just preview it, it will appear like this. But you see here, it took like approximately 23 seconds duration. Okay, so it will give in a hour, minute, second format. Hour, minute, second format. 23 seconds it took, and status is succeeded. This is the end time, this is the start time. Okay, so other things like factory name, run ID, all those things we have. Okay, clear? That's all for today, friends. So from tomorrow we'll start with our what is this, Python. Okay, one more thing